Republican presidential candidates are gearing up for the second RNC debate, which takes place in Simi Valley, California on September 27th. Now, for the first RNC debate almost 2 weeks ago in Milwaukee, candidates only needed to obtain 40,000 unique donors, not so easy, but they did it, and reach 1% in 3 national polls, or 2 national polls and 2 polls in 4 early voting states. Got it? Now, for the second debate, the RNC, though, it's getting a little higher. They're ramping up the criteria. To be on that stage in California, the RNC is raising the donor threshold to 50,000, so you need 10,000 more. And you got to get 3% in 2 national polls, or in 1 national poll and 2 polls in 4 of the early primary states. All right. 2024 Republican presidential candidate and author of the upcoming book, As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State and Save the Nation, Larry Elder joins me. Larry, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, first of all, tell us about, I know you didn't make the first one, and it was, for a couple there with the RNC. What is the criteria? The RNC is not doing their own polls for everybody. Right. You have to do your own poll, pay for it, and submit it?
No. First, let me say I did make the debate criteria in Milwaukee. I did everything they asked me to do. 40,000 individual donors, 200 had to come from 20 different states. And I had to submit 3 national polls where I was at 1% or better. I did that. At the last minute, I get a phone call from Ronna McDaniel, the chair of the GOP, and David Bossie, the debate czar, and they tell me, we can't use one of your polls. Why? It's affiliated with Donald Trump. Which one? Rasmussen, the same poll that you guys have been quoting for years? Yes, it's affiliated with the Trump campaign. Well, Rasmussen said they had no affiliation with the Trump campaign. And then we turned over another poll that had me above 1%. They said it was too late. So we filed a complaint with the FEC. My lawyer is former chair of the Federal Election Commission, arguing that essentially what they did by not putting me on there was to give an in-kind contribution to the 8 people that are on board. But to answer your question, to qualify for the debate coming up in September here in California, the threshold has been increased to 3 polls, 3% or better, as you pointed out, and 50,000 individual donors. We're going to hit the 50,000 without much of a problem based on how quickly donations are coming in. The 3%, I'm making a massive media buy in the next couple of weeks. We're going to get our numbers up to 3%. That's why I'm asking people to go to LarryElder.com and throw something in the tip jar. When I come back, it'll be the biggest comeback since George Foreman. I'm going to be there.
And all you have to do is actually put $1 in the tip jar, and that qualifies, right?
That's exactly right. Just $1 will do it. And by the way, one of those who made the debate, get this, gave a $20 gift certificate for a $1 donation. Another one gave you a commission if you got out and got other donors who also in turn got commissions. So the whole idea was to make sure that you're not some sort of guy that can fog up a mirror and thinks he can run for president and therefore can demand a spot on the stage. You have to be credible and legitimate. I think that's corrupt, maybe even illegal, but that was okay. I did it the old-fashioned way. I asked people to go to my website, LarryElder.com, and make a donation, and I was barred. Not only from the debate, I was barred from the debate arena. They put up a sign at security and said, if Elder or if his team shows up, don't let him in. So now I guess I made the terror RNC watch list.
You'd have a better chance if you snuck across the border. Maybe that'll work.
That's what I should have done, yeah.
Yeah. With Trump all the time, and then next week, of course, and it's just dominated by Donald Trump. It's even harder for the top-tier candidates to make some moves, right. And they really didn't. I mean, the polls didn't shift that much since the first debate. So how are you going to do it, not having been on the first debate, scratching and clawing to make some noise? How are you going to do that? How are you going to get up there?
Well, my work is cut out for me, obviously, but as I said, getting up to 3% will be the task. I'm saying stuff nobody's saying. I'm an America First guy, Make America Great Again guy, and Trump is the nominee. I will happily support him, as I've done in the past. But nobody is talking about the epidemic of fatherlessness, although Vivek Ramaswamy stole the line at the last debate, not having said it in any of the campaign appearances I've ever seen him speak. No one's talking about the lie that America is systemically racist. Not just a lie that's pushing nonsense like reparations. It's getting people killed because cops are pulling back all over America. And as a result, there are thousands of excess casualties, people who are dead who otherwise would be dead if the cops were doing their job. And then there's this meltdown of K through 12 education where, just to pick one city, Baltimore, there were 13 public high schools in Baltimore. I kid you not, 0% of the kids can do math at grade level. We need to get rid of these soft-on-crime George Soros-backed DAs. And I've been proposing an amendment to the Constitution to fix spending to a certain percentage of GDP. Otherwise, government gets big, whether it's Republicans in charge or Democrats in charge, and nobody is talking about these issues. So if I'm not the nominee, in the unlikely event that I'm not the nominee, if I can get him or her to start talking about these issues, I will have done a service for my party and, more importantly, a service for my country, and that's why I'm doing this.
Well, you need a little relief factor, so that's money, and that would be getting to 3%, right? Good luck, Larry.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
You got it.